Hello, everyone. Welcome to Damage Control. This is episode 2. Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Life is good. Really excited about 2026 and what TBR is going to do.
Yeah, 2026 is going to be an awesome year. I'm looking forward to it. 2025 was also great. A lot of growth and really, we innovated a lot, I think, and that was awesome. I know you've been out for a few days. How you doing now?
Doing well. I mean, Virginia this time of year
Yeah.
in the winter, back-to-back sicknesses. So what can you do?
Do you guys see me? It's actually kind of cold here, so I'm a little bundled up.
Freezing now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's like 20 degrees. And I know like people in Canada right now are like actually jealous of when I'm saying 20 degrees. but for here it's cold. Anyway, so I wanted to cover a few topics. But mainly this particular episode is going to cover a lot about fake news and misinformation and what are the pinpoints that you need to look for when you're looking for the reputation management company. And I wanted to cover that, go over it in detail. My first question, I guess, is kind of a broad one: is what are the top reputation management companies out there? What is the distinctive pattern between a good agency and a bad agency? Do you have like few tidbits maybe on what will be something that people should look for in a business?
Yeah, absolutely. I've worked at several of them, and of course, we've shopped them all, and we're very well aware of what our competition is doing, the types of results that they're achieving that are out there. For a lot of our clients, the feedback that we're getting and some of the statement of works that have been forwarded to us from their past ORM companies that they've worked with, a lot of these companies are just cookie cutter, making sure they hit on the deliverables. And they say, well, look, there was no guarantees, but we did publish you on, dansfishingblog.z or something that has a domain authority at 10. And, they're like, no, we gave you the content. You're good. Unfortunately, you're going to need another year of suppression, and we're going to have to up the price because clearly that previous price point didn't work. So there's a lot of luring you in on a smaller deal. You're not getting the results. And then they bring in the big guns and try to upsell you on something that you initially needed to begin
Right.
with.
They're cutting costs, and I think that is actually very bad. And what we at least try to do on our end over here at TBR, we always had this philosophy of let's go in strong. Let's do everything possible in the first few months. And I think then it's all about like if we build that trust with the client, then then there is that loyalty for long-term suppression. And a lot of times there are cases, and I'm not gonna lie here, like there are cases when people may quit like month 2 or 3. That is actually a terrible decision because all that work that you did and investment that you made can go down the water. Because honestly, it does take 6 months, 12 months for full-on proper reputation assistance, and for it to actually rank and stay ranked on top, those positive links that you want. For those links, it will take 6 to 12 months.
I agree. And, just to clarify, we should see with a proper ORM campaign, you should see some changes in your search results in the first 30 days. Now, typically with our company, that's the foundational phase. That's where we're working to build assets, fix any broken backlinks, et cetera, tie things up SEO-wise, as well as initiate those initial publications that sometimes do take time to entrench themselves in Google and then climb up as we send more traffic to it and continue to backlink to it. However, you should see significant changes in your search results within the first 90 days of any one of our campaigns. But yes, to see major changes, to really see the ball moving, to see negative content being pushed off of page 1, it can certainly take longer.
It seems like a lot of people and a lot of companies are using the term reputation management, and they're kind of throwing it around. It's like it becomes a term for people that is sort of used in all cases having to do with SEO or marketing. And it is a lot more specific of a term than we give it credit. Reputation management is specific type of SEO work, having to do with your page 1, right? So do you think reputation management, this phrase actually gets thrown around? Because I personally do. I've seen it all the time being used in a very loose terms, but it's actually a very specific tool for your agency.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, that became a hot topic. It became a buzzword. So other marketing agencies, SEO companies, review management companies started utilizing this term because it was piquing people's interest. They'd heard about reputation management. What is this, etc. But a true ORM company, online reputation management company, is mostly concerned with fixing what people see when you're searched online. And that could be any facet. So that can be broader. Like, what are people seeing on social media? What are people seeing in Google search results? What are people seeing in other search engines? We've expanded too. And then that term will continue to expand. AI overview, LLMs, right? What are people seeing when they type your brand into Grok or in ChatGPT? What are people seeing when they ask about your industry? Are you coming up as one of the top companies that are being found? And that's something that we've delved into and really expanded on recently as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we are hearing about reputation management online can be falsified, but also, look, I've seen a lot of articles and just people in general saying negative things about reputation management online. We talked about this in the previous episode as well, but I'll just say that I think there is a lot of fake news out there about reputation management specifically. And besides that, just stuff that you see online, there's a lot of misinformation going on. And that's another topic I wanted to cover now. Misinformation online is a huge problem, and it's getting worse now with AI, honestly, and AI overviews and everything else. Obviously, that's a lot of what we have to deal with here at TBR. But and it's not just political either. People think that misinformation just has to do with politics, and we're never going to be too political or anything on this podcast, really. But I think misinformation is on both sides of the aisle in America, and I think that boils down to sensationalism, how people can sell their article to the most viewers and readers.
Yeah.
So they use the terms that fit the best, right? And I'm sure you've seen a lot of that too.
Yep, absolutely. And that will continue, unfortunately. But I think our results speak for themselves. The awards that we've won, the client testimonials, the case studies that we're able to put together really showcase what we can actually do versus what's being said about online reputation management companies online.
Yeah. Why is there so much of why do you think there's a lot of twisting of the truth? Is it just agenda based, or do you think that people are just trying to make a buck?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, there's a book that I read a few years back called Trust Me Online. And that was a popular book that was recommended to people entering the PR space. And it's about how all of these journalists piggyback off of each other. They'll write some sensationalist piece for clicks, for views, for obviously monetary gain, etc. That's piggybacked, built off of each other's stories. And the tail continues to kind of spiral and cascade.
I've heard this story one time about I'm sure you know about the Onion, the like a satire article platform, and what happened was they used one of like the fake Onion articles, and they grabbed that and used it all over for like a bunch of different sites. And then they were posting about like, oh, this story about some nonsense that did not happen, did not take place. It was, complete nonsense that, Onion is, does all the time and to get a laugh out of people, right? And they just spread the news like wildfire all over, like a bunch of different news sites picked it up. And it was complete, nonsense. But it did spread. And people were wondering if it was a true story. And it took a lot of time to undo that, right? And that is the problem with what we're doing here at with TBR and everything. We get a lot of those type of people that, oh, this one piece of news changed everything for my life.
Yep, and we'll see more of that. I mean, we've got news agencies that are posting fake AI videos as part of a news story.
Yeah.
And because again, that's a tip that they received. People saw the video, thought it was real, and so they piggybacked off of that and wrote a story about it when it turns out the video was completely AI generated to begin with.
And it affects all mediums. It's not just about written word, right? Right? Like people, a lot of people get their news on YouTube, these days. And there are reputable sources on YouTube, sure, 100% agree. But not everyone is, right? There's a lot of misconceptions and theories out there. In fact, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but I will have it in the description below. It has to do with what happened in 2020 with misinformation. Um, it was about 130 vaccine-related stories that were out there on internet, and half of them were essentially false, and it actually stopped people from getting a vaccine. There was a lot of misinformation about vaccines in 2020, and a lot of people decided not to get vaccinated. And that is part of misinformation. It can stop people from doing certain things. It can change your opinions on everything. And I would urge people, I think, to read into things more and look at other sources. There's a lot of nowadays we have this liberty to choose our own news platforms, right? There's stuff like Ground News, Straight Arrow News. These are platforms that are like a lot more moderate in their in their sayings and everything in what they are covering. And I think that can help because at least you're looking at unbiased information. And misinformation is on both aisles of America. So whether you're left leaning or right leaning, it doesn't really matter. It's going to happen. You're going to see it. You're going to see the sensationalism. In fact, I don't know if you heard of this story, the direwolf story. Did you? So okay, I'll let me explain. So last year, Time Magazine posted that direwolves are back. So there's a lab.
Is this from the Game of Thrones?
Yeah. So direwolves are real. They're actually like real. Like they existed a long time ago, but they went extinct. And Time Magazine did a coverage that direwolves are back. Essentially, what happened was that there was a lab that was able to mix in old direwolf genes from like the prehistoric era, and they mixed and spliced the genes with the current gray wolf.
So like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, kind of, right? Like really cool, right? And they're doing like similar stuff with like mammoths now, and it's really really cool, really awesome stuff that they're doing. And nothing against them, honestly, they did a great job, but this is where sensationalism and exaggeration goes into shape. Everyone said that direwolves are back. These are not direwolves. They are like direwolves, but they're not exact genetic copy of what was back then. They're a lot different. So it spread like wildfire. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, direwolves are back!" And then there was a photo of George R. R. Martin like holding the direwolves, like the baby direwolf. It was really it was crazy. It's a really cool story. I urge you to check it out. It's really fun, but it is sensationalism. It's just one more evidence of what sensationalism can look like. So yeah. I wanted to dive into some other aspects today. I want to talk a little bit about Reddit. What do you think has changed with Reddit in the past few years?
It's become increasingly more powerful, meaning that any one person can lodge a complaint, however crazy that complaint might be. And it could be a large publicly traded company that has hundreds of assets online as far as positive content and, sites 2.0s, etc. And all it takes is this one complaint to a Reddit post. Google trusts Reddit so much right now, it catapults it to the top. And these companies end up calling us because one of their top posts is someone complaining on Reddit about how they're a scam company or, they were owed a $10 refund or this or that for whatever reason. And it's at the top of the search results and causing them lost business. And so that's been an increasing trend. We've not seen a reversal of that. I did expect it at some point in time, whether it's over the past couple years or over the next couple years to be some sort of correction to where Google kind of works in there, its correct algorithm says, okay, I think we overdid it, pulls back a little bit. Google continues to update its algorithm over time with anything, and I'm expecting that with Reddit too.
Yeah, and the thing is, removing content from Reddit is definitely tricky. Definitely something that we can do here at TBR, um, but it's not foolproof. It's not always foolproof, right? It we have a really high success rate here at the Best Reputation, but it will never be 100%, right? And that's the thing with Reddit is I think these days it's becoming more and more prevalent, and I'm a little worried actually, Chris, because I would kind of disagree with you there. I feel like AI overviews and these tools and the AI tools in general, when they see Reddit, they think, oh, humans saying things, so that means it must be true. I will value it over other whatever else I see. So because it's such a direct forum for people to engage and talk about different topics, AI overviews typically thinks, oh, okay, so this is somewhere where I can grab the facts from, and often it's not the case, right?
Right. Great. And keep in mind, look, we're in the early days of these LLM algorithms and where they pull their information from. So that also will continue to evolve and adapt. I am expecting correction, and we'll see what happens. I would hope that they wouldn't rely on single posts on Reddit of someone, making a complaint about an organization and lumping that in to the LLM. Right now, we are seeing that, and there's no sign that that's going to discontinue anytime soon. And yes, we can remove Reddit in many instances. There's always a strategy available when it comes to online reputation management. If it's something that we can't remove from Reddit exactly, specifically on reddit.com, we have the ability to delete threads. We can often de-index it from Google. If we can't de-index it from Google, we can often suppress it from the search results, so it's at least not prominent. Again, I go back to studies show that less than 5% of people are going to page 2 on average when they're searching a company or researching the product online. So we can suppress that information and make that Reddit thread fall from the very top where everyone's seeing it to where less than 5% of people are seeing it. Well, damage is mostly undone.
And it seems like it's becoming more problematic for companies and organizations specifically. I mean, people as well, for sure. But companies and organizations are suffering the most because there's a bunch of subreddits about scams and all that. And then if your company is included in the scam section of Reddit, you're losing a lot of business. Because if someone if they Google your business and someone reads that, oh, this is a scam, you're done. No one is going to care about your, whatever you're selling anymore.
It's not even fair, but it is the reality of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we've taken on cases where someone received a damaged shipment because the mail carrier or whoever broke the bag, and then they go online and, oh, this company is a scam.
It's not even their fault.
Like, what? But now it's one of the top posts. How many people are actually clicking through that, reading it, coming up with a judgment of, no, they're still an okay company? I guarantee, even those brands would be losing business from a post like that.
Yeah, that's insane. That happens. So you think that it should be less prominent in search results? Probably, right?
I believe it should be. That's not the case. I believe it should be. I don't believe we should be relying on Reddit as nearly as much as we are.
What would be a far more factually correct source? And I want to answer this too. I would say, and I hope that people don't get I'm not saying that Wikipedia is amazing at sourcing but it has a lot higher factual correctness than Reddit does. So if Wikipedia was more of a more relevant in these situations than Reddit would be, I think that could help.
Yeah, so look, Wikipedia is one of, if not the most trusted source by Google already. Sure. The issue lies in the fact that most corporations don't have a Wikipedia. To determine if you're eligible for Wikipedia, one of the go-tos that I've always been told is pretend it's an encyclopedia, like a physical encyclopedia that we had back in the 80s. Open it up. Would your business deserve to be in that encyclopedia? And if the answer is yes, then yes, you're eligible for a Wikipedia page. There's other factors in there as well, but that's kind of the basis of determining whether or not a company should have a Wikipedia. Now, I will say there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to Wikipedia.
Yeah, of course.
I've been told by professors back when I was in school years ago, um, oh, Wikipedia is not a source. No, not by itself, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But Wikipedia has a process. Anyone can go in and edit Wikipedia. Sort of true. They can. You can sign up and you can edit a Wikipedia. However, Wikipedia is heavily, heavily moderated
Exactly.
by multiple moderators, by multiple admins. It's not just one collective group, but it spans thousands and thousands of individuals that are constantly checking over each other's work. And that work needs to be cited and sourced. If you go on a Wikipedia page and you suddenly add a giant blurb of content, a bunch of nonsense without backing that with an actual relevant or validated source, it's going to get deleted. It will be discovered. It will be deleted. And we actually had that discussion as well. Since we're talking about Wikipedia, companies call us and they say, hey, we've tried to make changes on our Wikipedia. All I did was hit edit and we aired what we wanted it to say. And someone reverted it back a couple of days later. Well, yeah, that's not the process for Wikipedia.
Yeah.
We're Wikipedia management experts as well. And there is a very specific process to modifying content over time for any given Wikipedia page.
Which makes sense. Exactly. And yeah, I agree. I mean, not every company can have Wikipedia, of course. It is something that, and I love that it gets moderated so much. In fact, I did try before to change something on Wikipedia because I thought I was right about some topic. And 2 days later, I got a response detailed like why that's not the case. And it made sense, actually, when I did my own research that, okay, they have a point, right? So I think that happens a lot on Wikipedia, a lot of moderation. And I like that a lot. But if you're a company that's smaller, if you're like a startup or something, there are other similar options to Wikipedia out there that, for example, TBR can help you with. We would be able to help put you on those sort of platforms and get you mentioned on page one through Wikipedia-like source. Like fandom comes to mind, for example, and stuff like that. There's like different wikis for different categories or topics. So those are a good option, good plan B, I guess, for that. Would you say?
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. There's hundreds of other assets that are like Wikipedia that would serve the same purpose, that would rank towards the top of Google, given a bit of SEO and a bit of substance on the actual page itself.
Should companies and organizations reply at all on these subreddits? I've heard different things, I guess, but wherever they're featured.
Yeah, so there's a couple different angles to look at something like this, right? You want to look at this from an SEO perspective, and you want to look at this from a public relations perspective. Yeah. From an SEO, never. Replying is going to be harmful. What you're doing is you're adding content, you're updating that thread saying, hey, here's more information, more substance related to this specific topic. Google seeing that saying, oh, cool, more ammo, let's throw it to the top. From a public relations standpoint, it depends. It's on a case-by-case basis, right? If a company like ours can work to remove that content outright, if we can work to clear it or suppress it off page one, sometimes it's best not to respond. If we have even a canned response, or if we can reach out to the individual and work to rectify that issue. Again, I'm going into customer service and how to solve basic problems. But again, kind of different from a public relations standpoint than from an SEO standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. Reddit is going to become, I think, hopefully less of a problem as time goes by and as AI overview and AI tools become more powerful. So let's see what happens with that. Just a general topic, and I think this was perhaps a missed question from the first podcast, but a valid one nonetheless. Why are we doing this, right? Why are we doing reputation management? What is the goal, right? And I think, I guess that's all I would say. Why are we doing reputation management? What is it something that we do truly feel passionate about, and does it in fact help people or just helps him cover things up. And the reason why I'm bringing it up again is because it has to do with this negative connotation that reputation management has. So, from our point of view, why are we doing reputation management if it is viewed so negatively out there?
So I definitely think it's something that we're quite passionate about. In fact, I have my own thought that it's tough to be successful at something you are not passionate about. So I think
Course.
the proof of our growth, of the awards that we're winning, of the accomplishments and milestones that we're hitting, is proof that we are passionate about what we're doing. And as to the why, I mean, again, I've kind of harped on this in the past, but there's companies out there, there's individuals out there who are ruined or wrecked, or even not so dramatic, reduced revenue because there's harmful content in the search results. It shouldn't plague a company forever. That shouldn't plague a person forever. In most cases, we want to get back in there and we want to fix that for the client. So I think we're helping people. That's what it boils down to: is that we're helping people and we're helping companies overcome their past.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's an important angle to take this from. Chris, that was it. Thank you so much. And I think let's see what's to come in 2026. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, we'll be back soon. Take care, everyone.
Exciting.